Yeah,
You
it's a
better bloody
shame I
listen.
have full power over how much editing there is in this
I
podcast.
know, mate. I know.
Because this Purples podcast is getting a little out of hand. Welcome back to the Lose to Win podcast with myself, Josh, and Ben, and Jack again.
Hey.
Or I should say,
Hello.
it feels like I've kind of made that a bit more bigger than it needs to be. But it's good to keep you on the pod after 1 week back, Jack.
Just have to remind everybody
Well,
he's back.
You've kept me on the pod. I'm not sure you've kept me on the pitch, but we'll see.
Oh, yes, we'll come back to that. Yeah.
Mm.
We'll come to that in a bit, shall we? But I should say, besides that, maybe then, how have you guys been? How have you been in general?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go? Or go on, you go first, Jackie. Go on.
Yeah. Up until about 10 o'clock last night, I've been absolutely fine. But yeah, I've been working really hard on getting steps in this week. Obviously, we had the Interclub 11 aside on Sunday, which was really good, despite the weather's attempts to ruin it as much as possible.
Biblical weather.
It certainly was biblical at times, wasn't it? We had sideways wind and rain, and I did actually notice a couple of times it did stop raining, but it just
Briefly.
you just didn't notice because the wind was so gusty and all over the place. It was an eventful game, though, wasn't it? I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was a really good game, yeah.
very good.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. I've been sniffling, by the way, like loads. I'm literally coughing and sniffling since then, so I feel like picked up a cold. I'm not saying it's the Sunday, but it was pretty poor, wasn't it? But it was a good game, really good game.
It was
really
relentless with the weather for sure, but I think, as I say, despite that, I think everybody enjoyed themselves. Yeah. Amazingly, Slades didn't have somebody booked on at the same time and didn't turn the lights off halfway through.
Hey,
we actually got a full 2 hours, which we well deserved and paid for, finally out of them. It's just a shame it's at 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock on a Sunday evening, but when's a better time to play football, eh?
Yeah, it was good. I actually quite like it. Rainy under the lights. Feels like
you in your element when
I used to play. I used to play.
Yeah, serious goals
generous
as well, Josh. No,
mate,
he's not being generous. They were serious goals.
Finished us off, dude.
The assist for one of them was incredible, but the goal itself was even better. I just, I got to the point where I knew, having not really played with you in front of me in that position before, I just knew being able to hit it first time that you'd be there or thereabouts. You clearly read what I was intending to do. And I can't remember who was in that position, but I just kind of played it in behind him and let you do the rest. And you just certainly did that. I think Mark almost lost his hands.
Yeah.
And you dispatched two very, very good goals. So well done, mate. A little early birthday treat for yourself.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. I was quite surprised myself, to be honest, if I'm really honest.
It's all that weight you've lost, mate.
It's strange just to play on the wing for a bit. It is tiring, though, I'll tell you that.
Mate, tell me about it.
Yeah.
It
was a good game overall, wasn't it?
Yeah, prior to the game, me and Kev were having a bit of back and forth about your best position, and I was saying you're a 9 out of 10 defender, and as you can imagine, the first thing Kev said when he had the opportunity to be like 9 out of 10 defender ? After Josh's incredible performance. So maybe 9 out of 10 everywhere is probably the best. Way to go.
I'd go with that.
It's all those to say your brother, mate, Jord, mate. He was phenomenal.
He a double man job. He did his utmost to cover everything he could, and it's good to see he played at a good level and is a good player, and it's good to see him back towards that. And I'm sure the colossal amount of weight he's lost has certainly helped his ability to play at that level. And it does make me laugh when you see him scoring worldies down Two Rivers as well. He's really got the ability. He absolutely loves on a 7-a-side. He loves playing up front because he's a proper physical player anyway, and really good close control and a good finisher. So it works really well. And then 11's centre back suits him down to a T as well. So it's a bit of almost like you, a little bit of a Swiss Army knife, Josh.
Yeah. Heaping loads on me today. It's too kind. But what I was going to say is,
it's your birthday, mate. It's the only opportunity.
Oh,
the only time we're going to do it.
And everyone's going to buy you some chocolates for Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, by the way, I should, although no one else will be able to see, I could have fetched it on camera. I'm here with you, Ben, but I've got one of those big dairy milk bars of chocolate.
Oh,
that I got
yes.
sent.
A kilo
by the way,
bar.
yeah, almost a kilo bar,
Yes.
850 gram bar of dairy milk,
Yes.
which I was sent for a birthday. And I think,
Well, there you
by
go,
my
mate. Eat that
family,
before Friday. Happy days.
and there was, I just said, I don't think they've got the gist of this Man v Fat. I don't think they've really gone into the really
Yeah, it's funny,
understood
isn't
it,
You're
but-
right there, mate.
yeah. Yeah, what I was going to say to you, by the way, you talk about your assist, Jack. Ruben came up to me after the game straight away because of one I should have scored, and he said to me, "Why is it you could have give Jack a good assist and not me?" Because he played a beautiful ball into the middle for me at one point, which I almost put away.
You probably should have had your
yeah.
hat trick. To be fair, I think Mark down at your feet quickly and stopped it. But yeah, hat trick was so close.
Yeah, it was good anyway. I think we should try to do it more often. It's always difficult, isn't it? We say this quite often.
Yeah, trying to get everyone together is always tough.
Yeah,
but there's
many
enough people in
people.
the league now. It's decent amount of interest. So
yeah, definitely.
puts them together.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should probably move on then into the roundup this week, and then we'll come back to some more Man v Fat stuff. Week 3 then. So
week 3.
Week 3 means hat tricks. That's what, well, for most people in the league, quite a decent amount of people in the league, it turns out. For those who bag one at the first time of asking, it means 2 things. First, there's more chances of squeezing in the maximum 4 trebles into a 14-week season. Secondly, you're hitting your stride with consistent good practice, promising steady progress towards your weight loss goals. Either that or you've been making hefty bribes to the coach. That kind of success doesn't come cheap, I guess, if you're bribing Steve. The hat-trick health check. Yeah. He doesn't like to talk about that, though, to be fair.
No, never.
No. The hat-trick health check says that the doctor can stand down. The club's doing great, generally. 26 hat-tricks there were this week as a first time of asking. As good a week 3 total as I can remember. Anyway, as has pretty much ever been. That equates to nearly a third of the club, making it 3 losses out of 3. That's bad news at the wrong end of the Premier League, but great here in Man v Fat. So that's some pretty good going, I would just say, on that one. With each of the hat-trick heroes earning a bonus goal, plus the steps challenge that I will come to in a bit, that me and Steve worked on for the week 3, it was a high-scoring week. Every team had at least 1 hat-trick, so with the whites who had 4 and your purples, Ben, had an astonishing 8 hat-tricks. The biggest beneficiaries of that hat-trick goal fest. Yes. Your purples also scooped up 3 step goals, I should say, 3 goals for the steps challenge, leaving also 1 for the oranges for this week. There will be another team challenge in week 6. With more details we'll come to it. I can just say it won't be a steps challenge. It's more than likely not to be a physical challenge. So
that's a tragedy.
There you go.
Come on, someone pick up on that, please.
I'll do the action.
Yeah, good one. I did it just as you were having a drink as well.
Sorry, mate.
Just spit it out everywhere. Clearly wasn't that funny. We're back in my box.
It's very, very. No, I won't say it. Go on.
No, go on. I don't think
I was going to say Jack with his current jokes, keeping it real.
You say you didn't get it.
Could have said Bee Gees, to be fair.
No, yeah, I was. Yeah, but maybe that was me. I just didn't twig at all.
I said it's a tragedy, and tragedy is one of Steps' hits.
God, the fact you've had to explain it, mate.
I know, I've ruined it entirely. By the way, it's
ruined.
funny because I did have that in my head when after you said tragedy, I was thinking tragedy Steps song, but I don't know how I didn't twig it. Oh well.
I can't believe I didn't mention it sooner in any of the messages, especially with you making a mistake of leaving the purples out. What a tragedy that was.
Yes.
Is that not spoken about, Josh?
No, we'll come to that in a second.
We'll come to it. Bill's very.
It's funny actually. You say about steps and the steps challenge because one of the steps challenges I had that we chose from did actually have steps on my, as in the band, on my graphic that I was going to use. It just wasn't the one we picked. Unfortunately, we'll come back to that.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress. Before I get to the match results, do you think I probably won't cut that, by the way. I'm gonna
No,
leave
No, keep that
absolutely
in.
do not.
I just want to run
three
through some
madmen
things.
rambling.
That's what people tune in for, man. This
Yeah.
is
I'll have
prime.
to put
This is
steps on there
prime
at some
stuff.
point in it.
Yeah.
I'll just have to put a little section of the music in if I can get it past copyright. I just want to run through some things about the challenge, by the way. The league took it on pretty well, I should say, for our first
Yeah.
challenge of the season, quite in stride, and kind of walked its way to an astronomical 2,985,815 steps
Wow.
total
That's
across the people who submitted.
It's
Yeah.
mental, isn't
So
it?
it's just insane, isn't it, really? That is the equivalent distance of 1,367 miles.
Wow.
So here to Gibraltar, essentially, if you were to drive it.
Fair play.
Or 5,256 laps of a football pitch, 11-a-side football pitch, whichever you prefer. In theory, that translates to 165,421 calories burnt for the
Nice.
averages, or 340 Big Macs or so, 330 odd Big Macs, if you're counting in McDonald's, which probably a few people in the league do.
Probably.
Measuring stick,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The purples led the way with 598,036 steps.
Yes.
With the whites 502,785, not far behind. In terms of individual honours, and by the way, that number might not be 100% accurate. That's something I do need to check because of my silliness on the missing out a person. I apologise, and we'll come to that in a second. On my on my challenges,
We need an official lose to win apology.
Yes, the official lose to win apology to the purples and the rest of the league in general. Reds
Not
in
just to,
particular, lost a goal.
One person in particular is desperate for an apology.
Yes, I will get to him in a second.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. For missing out, Mr. Billcourt, I apologise for missing you out on my steps challenge thing, because you did do over 100,000 steps this week.
Yeah,
it's easily done because Bill's such a quiet and unassuming gentleman. It's really easy to forget.
Easy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was mortified.
And that would have taken your total to 698,000.
All right.
4, and us over 3 million steps for the league overall.
Yeah, mad.
As you can see, the mistake.
So it's Gibraltar in a bit then.
Yeah, Gibraltar in a bit.
Round the rock.
Probably Tangier. There you go. Other side. No, Africa. So yes, my apologies to Bill in particular for missing him off the report, and the scores were affected thus. But I can only say what a monumental effort it was done from everyone in the league.
Yeah, it was incredible.
The individual honours, I should say, go to these people. So James Hunt of the Purples had the most steps, winning his goal an extra, his team an extra goal, 122,643 in 5 days.
Incredible.
Incredible. Scott Hardy, who I must deeply apologise to for, even though it's nothing to do with me and I have no reason to apologise, but for hitting 122,000 1-1 and coming second by only 500 steps.
See, that's bonkers, isn't it? That's really bonkers. I was chatting to Scott before, and he was like, I've done 122 and I've really gone for it. And I was like, fair play, mate. And then when he said that and he had 120, because I knew James had hit 122, but I didn't know the extra figures. I didn't know what the sort of hundreds were.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, blimey, this is going to be a bit close.
Yeah.
And it was.
But
I have to say, by the way, I got to say, for James, that was James's first week. He hadn't even weighed in. He joined us in the group the weekend before, and we told him about the challenge, and he was bang up for it. And he just like got into it and was like, right, I can't, do anything weight wise this week, so I'm going to help out where I can and try and get this steps done. And he just went for it, and bless him, he went and ended up winning it. So I mean, kudos to that boy. But then he's a friend of Matt Waterman's, and he's well up for beating all of Matt's achievements. So I'm expecting big things from him.
That's mega. You have to real go some to beat Matt's impressive run, hasn't he?
Well,
but he did beat Matt's steps this week.
He did.
So in third was Rav Nath, who I know walks a lot already. 119,916. Paul Briggs, just behind him, and I have to admit the yellows were a bit devastated he didn't win it. 119,338. So only 600 or 550 or so behind Rav in fourth place, and then the aforementioned Matt Waterman with a little bit lower, but still very impressive, 102,044 steps. As I mentioned, Bill Court, who I apologise for leaving off, also did over 100,000. And Tim Winrow was also another person who did over 100,000 steps during the 5 days of the challenge. Extremely impressive. How was it received in your teams anyway? That's the
really good.
Yeah. You go first, Jackie. I'll say, because obviously Pebbles did. Well,
yeah. It was received really well. We've actually, so much so, we've actually rolled it on this week where we're doing a Beat the Captains challenge. So basically, Rob was really good with his steps last week, and so we come up with to kind of keep the momentum of it going, is to try and, pardon me, it's my phone going off in the background, try and beat Rob's total for the end of this week. So it's something I think the Blues will certainly continue to try and do, and we'll maybe pick a person each week and go, right, you got to beat that person this week, and they'll put their numbers up each night, and you go, cool, I'm a couple of thousand behind him or 10,000 behind him or whatever, and you've got to make it up. So lots of engagement. We do have it's a little bit tricky with a couple of our guys, and it's just how the cookie crumbles. That Connor can't have a phone or a smartwatch or any device in his work environment, just for safeguarding reasons, because he works with children. So that massively restricts his ability to record any steps unless he's got the ability to count in his head whilst wiping a kid's ass. I don't know what else he gets up to within his job.
Yeah, a little old school pedometer and stick it on his belt. Only about £2 on Amazon.
I guess you probably could, but that's just how the cookie crumbles with those sorts of things. Is set, and I think looking at those results, I don't think they're anywhere near anybody suggesting there's cheating. As I said last week on the pod, I saw Scott Monday night, and he said he had knocked out, I think, 27,000 2 days in a row, and I knew Scott was going to be on to a big number at that stage. So yeah, fair play to everybody. Well done, Josh.
I was really disappointed, actually. I thought, after my my prediction that someone's going to get 150,000, I was like,
I went even more than I went 60,
you went 165 or something.
Yeah.
No, fair play. I mean, we did step challenge before when we were in the Reds, didn't we? And Dave used to give out little prizes. And James was hitting bonkers figures then. He was hitting like 25,000-30,000 because he was going running and walking the dog 4 times a day or whatever. But
that's somebody, I think, if he was in the league, would have been in that top,
he would have
top 5 for sure. He loves it.
Yeah. But Nick, going back to the challenge, I think it really lit something, certainly with our boys. The chat went bananas. And we're not the most vocal chatty group, or haven't historically been. There's 3 or 4 of us who engage, but some of the others don't because they don't have time or whatever, or it's kind of not their thing. It's not for everybody. But it really, really engaged the group. And James coming in and saying, I'm really going to go for this because I want to do what I can for the team early doors, kind of lit a fire within a lot of people. And Bill was away in Holland, so he was keen to try and get as many in as he could because he knew his diet wasn't going to be that good. And all of the lads really properly engaged with it. Only a few of us who couldn't quite do as much as we wanted to because of our jobs. Obviously, a lot of us sit behind desks all day, which makes it quite difficult, especially if you've got families as well and you can't get out in the evening or whatever. I mean, it's all excuses, but even the ones that couldn't or didn't have all of the time, that still put in an effort to try and get a few extra steps in, and kind of that was the whole point of the whole thing in the first place, was to get people up and moving, even if it's an extra 1,000 or 2,000 steps in a day, just getting that impetus to get up and get out and move. was what it was all about. And I think it engaged everybody, to be honest. I've only had positive feedback from it.
Yeah.
I've not heard anyone say, "Oh, what a waste of time." Even if the lads couldn't do it. I mean, Martin, bless him, he couldn't really do it because he's carrying a little bit of an injury, but also he has a desk job. So he said, I could only do 25,000 steps or whatever it was. So, it wasn't absolutely available to everybody, but nothing ever is going to be. There's always circumstances where some people can't do it, but those that could really, really engage with it. And I thought it was great. So kudos to you boys for introducing that. And
Good,
just really glad that my boys really stepped up to the mark and nailed it in the end. And I know everyone's going, oh, Ben's got on fucking tags on him and blah, blah, blah. And he'll be doing this, he'll be doing that. But the reality was when the results came in, we didn't question it. It was only when you put the thing out and said, these are the people that have done this, and Bill was like, oh, do I not get a mention then, because I'd done over 100,000 steps, and we were like, oh, I wonder if he's missed it off. And there it was. So apologies to the Reds, man, because I felt really bad, especially as we played the Reds.
I'm very, very sorry to the can't get the staff, can you?
No,
you do
not.
I'd just blame Steve, mate, if it was me.
If it weren't for the fact that I was the one who came up with it and then implementing it and it ran it, it wasn't.
But mate, the amount of data you must have had coming into your phone must have been an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it was. It's quite a few people, I must say.
Talk about give yourself extra work.
Oh yeah, 60 people.
Fair play, man. So that's not 75% of the whole club, isn't it? Nearly.
It could be that, actually, to be fair. But it wasn't of some form, of which probably half of whom actually qualified for the points for the team, etc. So yeah.
Well done, mate.
Yeah, amazing work.
And well done to the winners.
Yes, well done, Purples, for winning. And I should say well done to Oranges, by the way, who had one of the better overall, one of the better averages, I should say, for all the people who did it. While you had 2 or 3 who made over 100,000 steps, the overall average for those submitting in points terms was really good for the Oranges in particular.
Right.
Because pretty much every single one of them submitted had over the maximum.
Excellent. Yeah.
Points, yeah. Anyway, that's probably enough of the challenge. There will be another one in week 6. As I say, it's probably not going to be a physical one, but it should be accessed by all, hopefully.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, I am as well. Yeah, should be a good one. Moving on to the results for the last week, I should say. So, straight in, Whites themselves won 16-7 against us Yellows.
Oh, mate.
The Greens lost 12-9 against the Oranges.
Close.
The Blacks and Blues had a very tight one, won by the Blues 9-8.
Oh,
and then the Purples
Blues
won 22-11 against the Reds.
Wow.
22-11. Look at that.
That is 8 hat tricks, isn't it? That's what it does for you.
8.
And a milestone, probably.
I don't think there was.
No, maybe not a milestone. I don't know. We'll come to that.
Well, there was one, but it wasn't mentioned. And it won't be mentioned.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But no, I will mention it because Steve didn't mention it.
I'm confused.
Right. So who's the person who hits milestones for fun recently?
Oh, Matt.
Right. Really?
Right. So Matt.
He hasn't.
He's hit his 25%.
Oh my God.
So he carried 2 into this season and he's already hit the next one.
But it doesn't count.
But it doesn't count until next season. So we're only in week 4. We're going into week 4. And so he hit it in week 3. So it basically means he's probably going to hit his 30% by the end of this season. So whoever we're playing first game of the season next season is going to get a double whammy again. Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? I don't know what he's doing. He loses like 1.5 kilos every week. It's completely bonkers. But anyway, and he's trying to make sure he gets mentioned on this pod every week. He's keeping tabs as to how many times he's being mentioned.
Well, if you're listening, mate, you can hear you've been mentioned again.
Yeah.
He's always going to get mentioned if Ben's on. Ben's.
Well, if he
Yes,
keeps hitting
super.
milestones, mate, and smashing it out the park, what can you say?
Absolutely well deserved,
indeed,
and that's incredible.
Yeah, bonkers. Yeah. Sorry, I've just gatecrashed your
That's
thing
just
again.
no, but it's just a proof that the system does not keep up with the weight that he's losing.
Well, it won't be logged, will it? It doesn't get logged until it's next time around. So
it's mad. Week 3 into a season, he's already can't score points for milestones.
Oh no.
Well, in terms of our weigh-ins, by the way, it was a mixed week for the club in terms of individual weigh-ins. I should say some spectacular highs with a very impressive team of the week, which we'll come to, but also some not insignificant backward steps. 5 teams recorded overall losses, while 3 found themselves heading in the wrong direction. We still managed a creditable 50 players losing weight out of 72 who weighed in. The Purples saw all 10 returning players lose, plus a new signing. Welcome, James, by the way, registering the baseline weight.
Yeah, welcome to
for a total of 8.3 kilos lost.
Nice.
So Bilbo ended up losing weight anyway then, Ben. Sorry, Josh.
He did.
He was worried he wasn't going to, wasn't he, with being away?
Yeah, being away.
Managed to lose weight. Fair play.
It was 0.3 or something like that, but
all counts, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Yeah.
Very well done. Well done.
Oh, and by the way, while we're talking about Bill quickly, he was quite upset that we didn't mention the fact that he scored 4 goals the week before.
Oh, yes. All right.
Three of which with his
I'll tell you what. I'll do you a quick update because I am holding the Golden Boot.
Are
whatever
you?
The award name for most assists is as well.
Oh, Christ. Right. Okay.
For that.
Go on then. Give us an update on that quickly.
Bung
that in there.
Whilst he's finding it, Ben, you can tell the Purples that the Purple podcast is recorded on a Thursday night and comes out on a Sunday at 1 a.m. in the morning whilst they're all still doing their steps.
Listen, I'm just relaying some information. That's all I'm doing. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, okay. Well, Bill is tied for the lead for the Golden Boot this season.
Oof.
In 3 games, Jogs and Bill, both from the Purples, have 6 goals each.
Nice.
Scored this season.
Nice.
Which is insane. Jogs has 6 goals, 4 assists this season.
Wow. He's
Bill
been having a quiet season.
2 assists. Billy, I believe, is next on that list with 4 goals and a couple of assists as well.
Very good.
And then you've got a few people tied on 3 goals. So you have Harry from the Blues with 3 goals, 2 assists this season.
Nice.
Dom from the Blacks with 3 goals and 4 assists this season. And then Alex from us Yellows with 3 goals and an assist this season.
Very good.
So that's as we stand.
You got any like special announcements for people that have hit the post the most times?
Is that you? Is it?
I reckon I'll be up there.
New shooting boots.
It's a running joke with us, unfortunately.
I should say 24 different scorers this season.
That's good, isn't it?
There are so far.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good going.
Yeah, very good.
But those are just for my fun.
Love those Stato. We'll call you Stato from now on.
That I'll get for some people who win the. I'll probably deliberately get one of those awards that has the complete wrong thing on it. You know, like a little tiny golfing trophy that says,
like a snooker player or something.
Yeah. Whoever give it to the Golden Boot winner.
Yeah, I love that.
Like that. So Jogs and Bill then. So Bill, there you go. 4 goals recently.
4 goals in one. 3 of them with his left foot, I have to say.
Oh.
3 of them with his left foot in the same game.
Very good.
He's getting his full quota of mentions in tonight.
Yeah,
he was very upset that he never gets talked about. So we love you, Billage.
Yeah, it's a shame I have full power over how much editing there is in this podcast.
I know, mate. I know.
Because this Purples podcast is getting a little out of hand.
Haven't finished yet. Go on.
Yeah, probably. I will just say, by the way, for the first time this season, you were outdone on the way. With Blues, they shifted 9 kilos.
Yeah, incredible.
With 7 out of 9 moving the scales in the right direction. The Reds lost 6, Blacks lost 5.9, and the Greens also 5.9. Also had weeks to be proud of, we should say. Altogether, the club lost 24.9 kilos.
Wow.
So continuing our excellent progress, that leaves us 82.2 kilos lost this season in 3 weeks.
Nice.
Which is pretty good going. So
Yeah.
very well done. Milestones then. So we have 2 to celebrate this week, both from members of the Hat-Trick Brigade. Tom Dowling completed his 5% from his return, while Pete Courage went even further and joined the 10% club.
Well done, lads.
In Pete's case, those bonus goals were the difference between victory and defeat for his Orange teammates.
Very good. Yeah, very good.
And well done, Tom and Pete. So keep it up, lads.
Yeah, well done, Tom. Well done,
Keep
Pete.
going. Yeah. 16 players were eliminated from last man standing, with 50 still in the competition. 8 of the 50 only surviving by cashing in their Grace Week. A bonus goal will be awarded to each player who gets to the last 30, with last man standing having officially started in week 2 this season.
Yeah.
Perfect start goals for those who lose weight in each of the week of the first 4 weeks will be awarded in week 5.
5. Very important.
And by the way, yes, I should say, and then again, by the way, in 9 and 13. So I should say, Steve made it very clear to me in the weighing room that we had got some stats wrong, or some
very
information incorrect from last week's pod. Now, I asked him to send me a full list of the things we errors so that I could reel it off. And say we apologize.
We give an official
for these
apology.
Errors yes. He didn't. So I'm just going to say to him that tough luck, basically. I would say that he was right in terms of this last man standing, perfect start, 4s, weeks, all that kind of stuff. 4, 8, and 12 or whatever. He is correct in that it
didn't officially start till week 2
necessarily. The one thing he wanted to correct me on was the amazing losers thing, which we mentioned last week.
Yeah.
In that we mentioned, you have to be over 30% in order to qualify. Apparently, that's not the case. They choose what the qualification criteria is every single season differently. It just so happens that it is roughly around people who have lost 30% of the weight or more this last season. So there you go. My deepest apology.
So we stand corrected. So an official lose to win apology again.
Another one.
There have been quite a few of them, haven't there?
Yeah, make a habit of this, Josh.
I did say to him, I said, look, no one ever said this is factual. This is just us, just talking about
the truth getting away with a good story.
Exactly. You don't believe everything we say.
What for you for still listening?
Yeah.
There isn't actually a Man v Fat Bournemouth League at all. We've just been making it up.
It's a Bournemouth fantasy Man v Fat.
Yeah. Yes. Another thing I've stopped doing. I need to apologise for. Maybe we should keep going now.
It's not like you ain't got time, Josh, for God's sake. God.
Yeah, right. Team of the week then. God, this is a long-winded breakdown. Team of the week is headed by a familiar face, making his return to the club and doing it in style, Mr. Jack Hayter. Very well done. Proves he's here for more than the shits and giggles with a stunning 3.8 kilo loss. So very well done, mate. An early sign of having returned to talking the talk on this very podcast. You're also ready to walk the walk again, or maybe not, as we'll come to. Limp the limp.
Limp the limp.
Yeah.
It's probably about 3 kilos more than the most I've ever lost before as well, so I'm quite happy with that.
It's very well done. It's stunning, a stunning amount to lose, mate. Really well done.
It's a big number. I was happy with it. Really
Take
good.
them stones out of your pockets, did you?
Yeah, right.
It's half a stone, isn't it? 3.8.
Yeah, it's just over. Yeah, I think it is. About 8 pounds, I think.
That's very, very impressive.
Yeah,
very well
keep
done.
it up, mate. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
The step challenge certainly helped, Josh. That step challenge certainly.
There you go. Well, we just like you were saying, we're continuing with it as well in our team.
Good.
We'd already kind of implemented one already, but it was just so happened that when we came to last week and the numbers really went up, and this week we're just continuing to try and do the same and make it a habit. Cool. That's the idea. One player, by the way, remains from last week's top team, and there's not really any prizes for guessing who.
I wonder.
Josh Buxton pushes his 100% record to 6 weeks out of 6 with a loss of 2 kilos.
Fantastic.
So the fact that even with such a great weigh-in, he only just creeps into the last spot of the team shows what a strong display it's been at the top end of the club. So here's the list in full. So yourself, Jack, at the top with 3.8 kilos. Oscar, who's a new member, or a relatively new member of the Blacks team, I believe, lost 3.2 kilos. Lewis, again, from the Blacks, he lost 2.9 kilos.
Christ.
Sam Denton returns, and he's lost 2.3 kilos. Dan Dancer from the Greens has lost 2.2. Rob Bridges from the captain of the Blues, I believe, has lost 2.1. And Josh Buxton rounds up another Blue with 2 kilos.
Yeah, amazing.
Well done.
Very well done.
Well done. Incredible.
A week of extremes, really.
Yeah.
Some levels, some huge losses, a few taking hefty steps backwards, but most of us moving steadily in the right direction. Whatever your week has been like, it's gone now, as such. So if you've done well, try to ride that momentum by doing the same things again. If it's gone badly, we regroup and we go again.
That's right.
Focusing on changing one or two of the things that tripped you up last time. You probably know what they are already. Most people do. I probably do. I'll know what's tripped me up. So good habits make for good results. So let's get busy building both.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Definitely. Well done, boys.
Well done. Yeah, well done.
That ends our very long-winded and banterous and apology-ridden and purple-heavy
Sorry.
For the week. I haven't actually timed it, but I'm assuming we're 20 odd minutes in now, 25 minutes.
At least half an hour, I reckon.
Yeah, so
it's all right though.
Done pretty well.
It's all right. Credit where it's due, right?
Yeah, very much so. Overall, the league's doing very well to start the season, isn't it? So 80 kilos, as we mentioned, it's very good. 3 weeks in, very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, there is something we kind of want to talk about. I know, Jack, it's a sore spot for you, quite literally. But it's also a reminder, and I know in your case it's a little bit different, as we'll come to, but a reminder to people who have joined the league that to take it slow, take it easy, and build into things, which we'll probably discuss a little bit further. But I understand you've had a significant injury. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've had an interesting kind of 24 hours. So almost this time yesterday, I hurt myself playing Tuesday night football, sadly. Very innocuous kick, just a kick of a ball, just a different way to how I normally kick it. And people that play with me know I love a Hollywood. And this was no different, but sadly something popped in my knee, and it basically subsequently me spending 5.5 hours, I think it was, in total in A&E last night, and then back again today to see the specialist to find that I have torn my meniscus. At what extent at the moment, we're not entirely sure. I need swelling to go down, and it needs to be scanned properly this time next week. But I sadly have a inflamed knee, very sore. Thankfully not sore while I'm sat still, but anybody that knows me, sitting still was quite difficult. And crutches and all sorts. So I'm a bit, especially after the start, bagged myself a goal last week in my first kind of waiting week back after the disappointing result against the Purples on the pitch. I managed to turn up and bag a goal last week, and a significant amount of weight loss, as we spoke about, and it feels like a setback, but where previously, again, similar to what I said last week, where that incident against, or how it went against the Purples, would have been a good, probably not a good, not the right term, probably the right moment for me to go, I can't be asked to do this anymore, or whatever. I think the injury now would have been the same. And I've got to stick at it. I'm going to continue to come and weigh in, support the team, as long as it's not pissing sideways, wind and rain. I'll be on the side of the pitch.
No. Come on, mate. All weathers, all right.
Supporting the team from the sideline until that moment comes that I'm fit and ready to start playing football again. At this stage, I have absolutely no idea how long it is, and I'm devastated. I've injured myself previously when I was a lot younger. I dislocated my ankle and broke my leg, so I do have plates in my ankle, and that was a significant injury. But I was a lot younger at that age. I was 17, I think. Yeah, I was 17, and things mended quicker then, and my body was a lot less heavy then. So this time round, I need to look after myself. I've got to be super careful that I'm not just shoveling the food in and eating my feelings, because I'm not doing anything like I was in terms of the steps and the football and everything else. But it's I can't lie and say I'm not pissed off and upset about it, but I've a few concerns about how work works for me, because my job involves a lot of driving, but also when I get to somewhere I need to do site walks and visits with customers and stuff, so I need to get fit and mended quickly to make sure everything stays smoothly with that as well. So not ideal, awful timing in my opinion, but these things are sent to test us, and I've got a good support network. My wife has been super helpful already. Bless her, my mum is retired, and she took me to the hospital for my appointment this afternoon. She was there and supportive, and also she takes the information a lot better than I do when a doctor's reeling off a whole load of words you've never heard before and things like that. My mum, having worked in the NHS for a long time, is able to take a lot of the information in for me and kind of simplify it for me and go, oh, I can't remember, did he say this or this? And mum kind of clarified it. But I had some gas and air, which I haven't had for a long time this afternoon, and that's always a bit of a trippy, strange
every
feeling.
cloud, mate.
Yeah. Although the pain through the gas and air was pretty significant awful, still, where he was manipulating and twisting the knee and bending it much further than I can at the moment, just to really understand the extent of the damage. And this is what the specialist has come back with, and we go from there. So it is a word of warning to anybody new or existing: do your stretches, do your warm-ups. If you're creeping closer to that number of 40, or if you're over it, you need to just make sure you're looking after yourself and warming up properly and take it easy. Football isn't the be all and end all of it, and those tackles that you think might be a little bit innocuous, but you're leaving something on them or whatever, it's our league is not the league for that. So just take it easy.
I think it's well, obviously you'll know more next week when you've had the scan, so fingers crossed, mate, that it's not as bad as you might fear, and you might have to have a couple of 3 months off on the sidelines and having a bit of a rest, but that in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It'll give you time to recover. And if your body's needs a bit of a rest, then so be it. Like we said, sometimes these things happen for a reason, so take a rest. Maybe it's someone telling you to just slow down a little bit, but the fact you'll still be there and coming down and supporting your team, and there are other ways you can help it, and we've said it before, there have been a few people that have had some nasty injuries down there, but they've still come and still continue to support and be part of it.
We had it was a couple of seasons ago now, some gentleman of the Greens, he was a new player.
That's right.
Yes.
That's me.
The whole season. It was when they won.
He went the whole season. He was down the whole season, every single week, and did last man standing all the way to the end. Lost every week, and he was injured. He couldn't play at all. All season, and that contributed to his team's success. It contributed overall, but mainly for himself.
Absolutely.
And he was brought into the league, and he really came down. He came down, watched games, and was very much kind of part of it. And obviously,
unless you're Bill and Jogs scoring 4 in one game, you're not scoring more goals on the pitch than you are off the pitch.
No,
across the season, generally nobody does. So
speak for yourself.
If I can contribute,
that's a few more on Friday, ain't you, Joshy?
If you can contribute off of the pitch, that's the big thing. I think if you can do it, and do it.
Absolutely, and it's. I mean, I did the same thing. Was it last season, the season before? I can't remember now, honestly.
Yeah, with your toe.
With toe, it's just a broken toe, and it's not something really serious, but it does keep you out for a few weeks. And all of those weeks, I was still in last man the whole time and stayed through to the end of the season, and that was one of my best seasons.
It gives you kind of a bit of extra motivation, I think.
Like
exactly. That's something happened to me. I think it was the first or second season I popped my calf, and I was out for 6 weeks, and I was down there on the sideline on my crutches. Remember, Jackie, back in the days of the Greens?
Yeah.
And when we were in Reds, Mark as well, he was injured for the entire season, and he was there every week.
Oh, what a champ he was! Yeah.
Yeah. I think Mark played 15 minutes for that entire season.
Yeah.
When we won the league as Reds, but bless him, he showed up every week, and it's tough. But I think the motivation is different, and I think if you can continue with that mindset, Jack, I think you'll be all right, because knowing that you are turning up and doing your bit off the pitch with your consistent weight loss and your tracking goals and adding and your hat tricks and your last man standing, all that kind of stuff, that goes a long way to helping your team. So do keep it up, mate. And I know it's a kick in the balls, but let's hope for good news next week.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I mean, as I say, quite a few people have been there. Us, me and Ben, obviously inclusive, and quite a few others. But we've seen what it can do to people's motivation to keep them going, and it's really honourable, and it's a really good thing to just keep getting involved in your team, because there's obviously that tendency to, well, I can't go and play football anymore. I won't. There's no point in turning up, kind of thing. Yeah. But actually, if you can get yourself into a routine of keep going, keep on your diet, keep losing your weight, you're surprised how quickly that turns into every week. And then,
I don't want anybody accepting any of my bullshit reasons why I'm not coming either. That keeps me accountable. Yeah. You boys can certainly help.
We will do that. Yeah,
just get Jordan.
You could be, Oh, you can be Mikel Arteta on the sideline, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm sure you'll be vocal from the sidelines as always, Jack. Telling
yeah, you could be the Arteta.
Real shame if everybody ran into one of my crutches while it was in the air.
You should just do the encroachment, your whole outside the technical area bit for the league. Yeah,
it's a shame as well, actually, because my wife's busy this Friday, and the kids were going to come with me and sit on the sideline. They are still going to come, and we've said that we're going to come and support. We're going to be Uncle Geordie's #1 fan group, so we're going to come and watch him. Both of them are actually mad keen on their football, but my eldest certainly has heard stories of Jordan in his younger years and how good he is, and he wants to see it in person. So no, there's the pressure set already. I'm sure he'll enjoy it. But yeah, we'll be down there. We'll be supporting them, and come on, your Blues.
Good.
Yeah.
Good win for Blues against the Blacks, mate. Good win, no? Beating the current champions.
Dave messaged me because I'd helped him sort out the pitch for this evening's football, and I told him about the injury. He says, "So what? You came back 1 week to beat the Blacks and then piss off again?" I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." Which is
excellent work.
Yeah.
Just one thing I was to say on the injury thing, because obviously different people have had different experiences, but it is another reminder, and as we said at the top, and we were talking about this before we came onto the pod, about easing yourself into the league. And taking care of yourself, your body first and foremost, because as Jack, you say, what's your line again, your phrase on it?
Yeah, your head's writing checks, your body can't cash.
Yeah, exactly.
We all think we're 16 still, and we all kind of go, "Oh, I used to be able to do this, I can do that," or fly into that tackle because I used to bounce and your bones were rubber rather than brittle bits of dust. And
I do
makes a difference.
It's one of the things that I say to anyone new who joins my team or who I speak to, is I always say, look, don't go into bananas. It's really easy to get out there and the rush of adrenaline, and you think you get flashbacks to when you're 15, tearing down the wing or whatever. It doesn't work like that. You've got to really take it easy, and for the most part, I think people go, okay, fair enough, but you always get one or two who just go hammering out, and you see them stack it into the ground or run into the fence, or the legs can't keep up with their body, and
oh my god, that's the most common one, isn't it? I think it's just realizing that you've got to ease yourself in.
Everyone, I don't know anyone who hasn't fallen over week one, for example.
Oh Christ,
I did it. Just fell over. It's funny in that I'd say that one of the things you find quite a bit is people push themselves to not necessarily impress people, but to feel like they're doing themselves proud and they're part of the team and they're doing the best they can. Week one. And I think sometimes it's okay just to know your limit and understand that no one's going to be there to criticize you for not making that extra run when you just can't. You physically can't do it.
No.
You've got to ease yourself in. And it's one of those things where, yes, someone might shout, "Oh, come on, extra," just shout, but they're not like saying you have to do it. It's a case of that's just part of the chat you hear on the pitch quite a bit.
Absolutely.
If you can't, and that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's important that sometimes that's recognised, that it's
just
not
being
anyone's,
out there.
Not,
just being out there.
Being out there is the main
massive
thing.
achievement
it's not
for a lot of people.
To push yourself beyond your limits, or to try and impressing on the team, or to try and feel like you're contributing week one to some sort of pitch, dominance. So it's the main thing. And then slowly these things get better. You'll slowly lose weight, or slowly, or in some cases like Josh, lose it quickly. He's come on recently, or Matt, and then you'll be able to move a little bit quicker. You'll be finding that extra step, and that the extra few that you can do than you normally can, because your fitness will get better, and that's when you just slowly build. But never overdo it.
I don't know about you boys. It's slightly different for me because I'm a wee bit older than you guys, and but when I first started, I used to really struggle after a Friday night. So after a Friday night, I wouldn't be able to walk properly for days, and I could only really play on a Friday night. And it's only really now, we're 3 years in, probably the last year, well, maybe not even a year, last 6 months, I haven't had niggling injuries with either my calf muscles or my knees. And also fatigue. I can actually get up on a Saturday morning now after Friday, and actually I can walk okay, and I can then go out and play on a Sunday, like occasionally we do in the 11s. But I wouldn't have been able to do that like the couple, even a year ago. I'd struggle playing 60-70 minutes in an 11s match. I used to come off injured after half an hour because my leg had seized up or whatever. And I've never really been able to do. I mean, I still would struggle if I played on a Thursday to then play on a Friday. So I tend not to play on a Thursday, but I'm gonna try and get a bit more actively involved in the Tuesdays, because I reckon I can play okay on a Tuesday and then play okay on a Friday now. So that's a massive thing for me. I'm going to be 50 next year, so to be able to play potentially 2 or 3 times a week is a really, really big thing for me, because as you get older, it's harder to keep yourself in decent nick, and football's a tough game, physically demanding game. So it's just baby steps, really. I would never have said 3 years ago I'd be running around a football pitch for 60, 70, not 80 minutes and be okay the next day. If I just wouldn't have seen it. So it's great, and I'm happy that I'm doing it. And for those that are struggling with injury, or might be worried about it, even about playing it later, a little bit later in you think your footballing days are over, don't just take it slow. Just take it slowly, and your body will get there, and you will get stronger, and it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, well said, mate.
Thanks, man. Even though I'm shit, I like running around.
You absolutely are.
I still enjoy it.
You say that, yeah. Everyone has their role to play, Ben.
Absolutely.
Has their role to play.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder for anyone as well, injured or not, feel like you can't do it or not. Everyone has a role to play in the league. That's what's so good about it.
Definitely.
And the community is always there to help everyone as well. So it's a great thing about it.
It's a love it, man.
Yeah. Moving on, potentially then.
Go on then.
I was just going to ask you guys a couple, well, I say a football related thing. We haven't got a guest, as it may have been mentioned this week, but we haven't spoken loads about football. We did last week a little bit about Jack's beloved Arsenal and the Man City clash, for example, last week. This week, I was just going to ask you guys if you've got any particular hot takes per se, because I was listening to a podcast earlier on the week, and there was a few outrageous statements from these fans.
Go on.
And I thought to myself, it'd be quite interesting to hear if you guys have got any particular hot takes. Now, I'll admit to you, Ben, that I couldn't remember some of them in terms of I haven't written them down. It'll be things like contradicting ones, like Ten Hag will be gone by the end of the week, and Ruben and Distelroy will be in managing Man United, or Ten Hag will still be here at the end of the season. Contradicting, but equally it seems like a hot take, both of them. So I wondered if you guys have got anything in particular you had a hot take.
outrageous statements. Go on. I quite like that. Go
well,
on.
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be outrageous.
I don't have anything outrageous, I don't think, but more along the lines of how impressed I've been by Ipswich so far. Much like everybody predicted Luton, I think how Kenilworth Road become a bit of a fortress for them, where they were able to dig deep and gain some results. I think Ipswich are the same at home for them, and what difference they're able to make with that home crowd behind them, I think is going to be really important, as proved the other day against a very good Aston Villa team, actually.
Yeah.
And I like Kieran McKenna's way, even down to, I saw him chatting on just before Super Sunday. I don't know if you both saw it, the way that he was chatting with all the mascots in the tunnel, and just a proper likable person. He was like, really, it wasn't just like high fives as he's walking past or talking for the sake of it. He actually was like engaging, and I think he was talking about what position do you play and who's your favourite player and those sorts of things. Actually given the time to kids where they make themselves out to be very, very busy, important people, but that little thing going the extra mile makes such a difference.
Yeah.
And I've got no reason not to like them. Obviously, friend of the pod, Gareth is a fan, so I like to see him enjoy himself, as long as it's not against any of the teams that I care about. I hope they do well. So it's not really necessarily a hot take or anything groundbreaking, but yeah, just really impressed with how they have spent a lot of money on some really good players. It shows that Liam Delap's much better than his dad. Just had a long throw. And players like Amari Hutchison's ability on the ball, dead ball, or just moving in terms of his crossing ability is outstanding. I really, really like him as a player, and a potential another Chelsea fumble right there. Is there anything else for them that stands out? I just think their organisation and the way that they are, I'd like to see them stay in the league. I know that they
haven't really changed their style of football, I think you'll find, which I always think is really important for teams that have an identity that come up out of League One and the Championship. Don't forget they got back-to-back promotions, so they've done 2 promotions in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And they've kept the kind of style of play that they were playing. And I think that's really important, especially from a fan base point of view, because there's nothing worse than seeing a team that plays a certain way and it goes up and then they start playing some weird kind of system or try and incorporate players that they've brought in, just, changing the system to suit one player or whatever, and it all goes tits up. There's nothing worse than that. No. So for them to, because I remember Blackpool did the same sort of thing, didn't they? They came up, and Luton as well. They carried on their kind of fearless, all-out attack, kind of really exciting to watch. Okay, they got relegated, but it was great to watch, and it was always going to be a freebie for them. And I think Ipswich have probably got a similar sort of attitude to that. The win for them is to stay in the league, so yeah, there's no harm in bringing your own brand and doing what you believe in, because everyone expects them to fail anyway. So if you stay in, you've proven everyone wrong anyway. So fair play to them. But I think going back to what you were saying about managers, I think that's absolutely imperative. This day and age, they are the successful guys and the really respected guys are the ones that take the time to speak to the people that really make the club work. And that's people from, the car park attendants, cleaners, restaurant staff, stewards, all those kind of people that make the club tick, to have the time to speak to those guys and make sure everyone's okay and a real community feel. They're the guys that have real success, and they're the guys that have the utmost respect from all of the people that to do with the club. And I applaud anyone that does that. I think they're the key members of a football club, and long may that continue.
The engagement from them,
absolutely.
I think it starts with them, doesn't it? If they're setting the right example, as a manager, the players will do it. I always go back to Eddie and how he did it, but he certainly brought what was a really fractured, difficult club to be around and troublesome time at Bournemouth to a real family feel to it, and thankfully now they got rid of Parker and the idiots they've had in between. I think Iriola has that about him as well.
Yeah,
I think he gets it, doesn't he? I think you'll you're basically bang on. I think if they come into a club, whether they've created the culture or they're inheriting the culture, they have to understand it and they have to appreciate it. And I think, Josh, you might be able to tell me different. If we talk about the culture and the way that managers are perceived, I get the feeling that Ten Hag isn't perceived very well by the United faithful. And I'm not just talking about the idiots that pipe up on social medias. If you talk to some genuine fans, which I know that are regular goers, they just don't get that feeling. He doesn't have a warmness to him or a likability, and that's me as a rival fan. I don't like how he is, and he just doesn't feel like he's United, if that makes sense. He doesn't tick for me. He doesn't look, sound, or behave like a United manager.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's his demeanour, isn't it? As you were saying, it's ultimately, and that's what you get from people through interviews, through various things. He's very calm, very calculated,
He's very Dutch as well, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
He's very,
and
there is
kind of doesn't lend yourself to
Dutchness.
Very
to
Dutch.
At least,
I can say that.
At least he's got a legitimate Dutch accent, to be fair.
Yeah,
not like McLaren.
Yeah, I work for a Dutch-based company, and they are very frank and very calculated as well. But they're also super, super arrogant. They have a ridiculous arrogance to them.
Yeah, they do actually.
And I think he ticks that box, and I don't think he is endearing himself. And I think he's on thin ice. I reckon he's gone after the international break. I think they'll use that as a perfect time to bring somebody in and rotate things.
Southgate.
Pivot to Southgate.
Yeah,
that's my hot pick.
Boring.
Southgate,
that's your hot take.
My hot take. Southgate United manager before Christmas.
Oh,
well, there you go. That's a hot take.
What do you think, Josh, about that?
I don't like that idea at all. But
I'm sure you're not the only one.
Yeah. So I don't know if I said it on this pod already, but like I sort of list some of the hot takes I was listening to were like Ten Hag will win another trophy this season.
I'm not playing like they are. They ain't.
Or Ten Hag will be sacked by Christmas and Ruben van Nistelrooy will be there. Or Ten Hag will be there at the end of next season.
Well, Rudy's an interesting one because he's there. He is there, isn't he? Is he there as a striking coach, or is he there as a coach in general?
He's assistant manager, isn't he?
Assistant coach,
is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
coach,
shit! There you go. Then maybe
he's basically waiting in the wings, as far as I can tell. You know, as the Man United, I don't want to talk Man United forever, but Man United were clearly shopping around in the summer. Didn't believe they found anyone in particular. They felt Ten Hag was the best of what was available. Yeah. But in the meantime, they got someone who was up and coming, and they felt like Ruben van Nistelrooy, someone who's associated with the club, to come in, that Dutch connection with Ten Hag to help out in areas maybe that we were deficient. And then, that's we'll see. But he's also one of these people, I think he's partly there in place of if things go wrong and Ten Hag has to go, we've got someone we don't have to rush.
Yeah.
Is the idea, I think. Anyway, not the best thing to be thinking about that right now. But yeah, he could be gone. I don't know. I'm a bit kind of ambivalent now, to be honest, on that one. I don't really care one way or the other. If he goes or he stays, I don't think it's going to get drastically worse or drastically better one way or the other.
Yeah, that's a sad thing. I think United fans have lost that. I know we joke in our group, but they've almost lost that fight and that what's the right term? That kind of arrogance that United fans hold, because
they haven't got that fear
pretty
factor
shit
anymore.
For pretty long, isn't it?
United coming up against
People
United is not like the United of old. No. Old Trafford used to be the worst place to go for any team. You're never expected to get anything at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
and
United used to win games with before the people stepped on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like City do now. To be fair, it's a bit like that. But I actually don't think City are going to win the league this season.
Is that your hot take?
Another hot take. Yeah, I think it's.
Okay, so here's maybe a hot take for you. I heard this today. This isn't mine. If Arsenal don't win the league this season, they won't for another decade.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's a hot take. I don't necessarily think it's accurate. It isn't. I should say.
Would you like to tell you why
this season?
Would you like to tell you why? If you look at the age of our team, average age of the team. We've got like 2 or 3 over 30. You've got Partey, you've got Jorginho, you've got Trossard. The rest of that team, Saliba was 22, 21, 22.
They're all young, yeah.
And you could lose. I don't ever want to think of a world without Saliba, but if you lost Saliba, you've got Calafiori that can play centre back. You've got loads of. They're building a stronger squad. My biggest concern is, and I heard it on TalkSport from the dipshit that is Jamie O'Hara, but I actually weirdly agree with him, is that Arsenal have a starting lineup at the moment that doesn't consist of Odegaard, but when he's back, it will. But outside of that, they are very, very predictable on who they're going to play each week. They have game changers on the bench, but they don't have players that can seamlessly fit in, as well as, to be fair, I think Trossard has done. I think Trossard is that enigma to my rule, if that makes sense. The rest, I think, you've got players that are not at the same level as what they're replacing. For instance, our centre back options being Jakub Kiwior is never gonna. He doesn't start for the majority of the top 10, maybe 11 teams in the Premier League.
He's
no disrespect to him.
Is he a centre back? I thought he was
by
a left or right back.
By trade he is, but he gets played as Arsenal do. They basically play with 4 centre backs across the back anyway.
Yeah.
You got Ben White that's obviously there. I think his time as a starting player might be numbered now with the success that Timber has been and how well Calafiori has been. So I just don't think the squad depth is there, but it's not as good as it needs to be. So that would be my only concern. I'm always quite sceptical about Arsenal anyway.
You're only a couple of injuries away from a bit of a car crash, aren't you?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that there is that. And I think Leicester gave us a bit of a scare, but then how well they played against PSG last night, how professional and how clinical that performance was, it tells me that they learn quite quickly from mistakes now, where before that going back to 2-2, that game would normally finish in a draw or a loss. They've got that killer instinct in now to keep going and not give up, and a bit of professionalism behind them. So I'll be there on Holloway Road celebrating if Arsenal do win the league, but I'm certainly not booking any train tickets yet.
Well, I was going to say, I think it's their best chance. But I will also say, I don't agree with that take of if Arsenal don't win it this season, then they won't for a while.
No. But
I think it is their best chance at the moment.
I think they're building though, aren't they? They've clearly invested in old what's his face, the manager.
Arteta and Edu,
they've invested in those guys clearly, and he's another one. He's a bit he's comes across a little bit aloof sometimes and a bit, but I think he's very respectful. He's obviously an ex-Arsenal player, and he's got a lot of respect for the club and a lot of respect for what the club stands for.
Yeah, ex-captain.
Exactly. So that goes a long way, and I think they'll be there or thereabouts for a long time to come, as long as he's there. So I think it could be their season. Yeah, absolutely. No, but don't forget, there's others that are kicking about in the background, and Liverpool are doing. Yeah, exactly.
Liverpool, another hot take. Liverpool will win the league this season. There you go.
Well, maybe. It's a new manager. It's a new manager bounce. It wouldn't surprise me.
I think a couple of signings for them sorry, just quickly, a couple of signings for them in the January transfer window could be huge if they can get the right profile. I think they could really go up another level. Diaz is. Do
you know what though? They're another club though that have got. They're a couple of injuries away from a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, they have a similar problem. They just don't have the depth.
Or Konate there.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's an interesting one. Here's one. Eddie Howe will be England manager by Christmas.
No, I like that idea, so. But it won't be. It won't. It will not.
Newcastle won't.
No.
You don't reckon Newcastle let go of him?
No, not yet.
No. Oh, the FA are tight as badgers bumholes, mate. They won't pay the money that Newcastle want from him.
Yeah. Okay. What about Ange Postecoglou will be gone by Christmas?
No.
Yeah, I actually think
it's who we are, mate.
Slightly over, yeah. Anyway, get a jibe in. But I actually think that
they are a little bit erratic, aren't they? The Tottenham owners and whatnot. They do some random shit. So that's probably as likely as it is unlikely, to be fair. But I don't think he'd give a shit, would he? I get the impression that if they turned around and went, "Sorry, mate, you're off," he'd probably go, "Okay, fair dues, mate."
Yeah.
Oh my
if he is
God,
gone, Man United will have him.
Villa have just scored, boys. Villa have just scored 78th minute against Bayern Munich to make it 1-0. I think it's Duran. Of course, it's Duran.
That brings
I think it's him. Is it Duran?
By the way, that brings me very well into my next hot take, and that is Aston Villa have the best striker pairing in the league. So Watkins and Duran.
Yeah. Arsenal don't have a striker, so that's them written off. Haaland is on his own.
Are they playing? Do they play together, Watkins and Duran? Because I thought Duran was coming on
best
alternates.
Double, so whether it's alternates essentially. So whether that's it would have been Man City, in my opinion, Haaland and Julian Alvarez, but Alvarez isn't there anymore. For my Aston Villa's not a bad shout.
Liverpool,
Watkins and Duran.
Liverpool don't really have
the bench and score.
Darwin on the bench. Jota.
Yeah, it's funny though. They have Nunes is he probably the only out and out striker they've got. Gakpo, I suppose, is an out and out striker, but they all kind of play in that front 3 or 4, don't they?
Yeah, they rotate across it.
So
I would say the strongest front line is it Liverpool actually saying that? I'm not sure.
I think they have the strongest attacking players.
But, the strongest attacking players. But in terms of strikers, in terms of a double, like a first team and a bench rotation striker, the take was Aston Villa have the best pairing.
Yeah,
in the league.
Yeah, I could go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shout.
Yeah.
They're all looking at their watches in the crowd. It's brilliant.
Man United will come bottom half of the table.
Oh, dreamy.
Do you know what? They probably won't. They always manage to creep. They always manage to creep up. That are there 10 worst teams than United? Probably.
New manager bounce.
Yeah. All right. Another one, maybe.
Southgate bounce.
Yeah.
This isn't a hot take in my opinion. The officiating is the worst it has ever been. Level. In the Premier
League. No.
I don't think so.
I think they've got some rather stupid rules that they've brought in to try and stop various things, and all that's happening is that people are finding loopholes around it all. That's what always happens. A rule comes in, and then they find a loophole around a way to abuse it. It's what happens. No matter what rule changes you make, no matter what rules you bring in, there's always someone that's going to benefit and someone that's going to not from it. And it's just a bit boring loop that goes round and round and round. Really, the latest one is the whole head injury thing, and the goalkeeper's not allowed to go off the pitch. That one, isn't it? Goalkeepers are just taking a piss now.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, totally.
Question for you, Josh. Fernandez's red card being rescinded.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair, to be honest, because I'm not sure why they rescinded it. I would have thought
studs involved, was it?
Well, no, it was his heel. It was his heel on shin pad, basically.
Right.
It was just the fact he slipped and he reached.
He
shouldn't have reached, but at the same time, he slipped, he reached, his shin pad, his heel hit the shin pad thing, and because his studs were kind of technically facing, I think the ref just thought, he studded him, and that was it, and it didn't go to the monitor. Because of the high bar that they set to go to the monitor now. They just didn't bother. So I'm pretty comfortable.
VAR still looked at it. So basically what they've done is they've reviewed a review. So what they've done is they've reviewed the decision, not the tackle. So this is what this independent panel have done, is they've looked at it and gone, they've made a mistake here. But this is where I do agree with that level of officiating, that this is why VAR is in there. They have to take a breath. They have to take a moment and go, let's look at this away from the emotion of the crowd, the situation, what's going on. You think of that as like a Merseyside derby or something really kind of heated. That's the idea behind it, is so the referee that could be influenced by the crowd or the situation. The VAR is sat in a booth somewhere a million miles away going, let's have a look at this. Let's look factual. Let's see what we think. And the fact that they both got it wrong is the concerning part. And that's where the biggest one I think this season is to kind of prove that they can't trust their own system, is that they've got it wrong twice, and somebody's had to come along and go, actually, we'll rescind that red card. It really doesn't look good for them.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm not crying, so per se.
No. And his record of not missing games or something crazy continues, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah, it is. The other hot take I heard, last one I had, was Erling Haaland is the deadliest striker the Premier League has ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't think
deadliest, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think. This is the phrasing, isn't it? Deadliest, you'd probably say yes, 100 something goals in 100 games, isn't it?
I think the stats speak to himself, don't they?
Yeah. The argument you could say is he can score that many this season because of the way the football is now. Some argument is the defending isn't quite as good as it used to be. Like when you're talking back in the day, Alan Shearer, when you're talking like a mid-table Chelsea team, who weren't even really a team back then, had bloody, can't remember his name now, but some serious defenders. Like you're talking world class, like elite level defenders.
I think
the game's a little different now as well.
The physicality of it was harsher then as well. I think Shearer's a tougher bloke than Haaland is, as much as he's a big scary bastard, big Viking bastard. I think you put Shearer against some of the defenders now, he'd rub his hands and go, if I could rough him up how I used to be able to.
Yeah, the central defenders are very, very different in the way that they play these days. In Shearer's day, they were fucking animals. You think about people who were centre backs, they were terrifying. If you look at people like Martin Keown and Sol Campbell and who else other big lads about Tony Adams, big bastards who were they didn't mess around. They'd have you.
They weren't technical footballers. They were big old lumps that will.
And also they were allowed, there was more contact. It was, there wasn't quite so much sort of health and safety in the games. So they didn't have physios as much. So, it's a different game. So,
yeah, just an interesting topic. If you're talking Premier League's best striker, then I think, I'm not sure he's there yet. He hasn't been in it long enough, but it's more just, it's quite an interesting one. He probably is the deadliest, but not.
I always think it's it's a really interesting subject talking about best strikers, because some people are so different. I mean, you can't compare an Aguero, for example, to Haaland, because they're two completely different players.
Yeah.
Yet they both scored lots of goals. But it's not necessarily just about the striker. It's about who you've got playing around them and who enables them to do what they do. Like Shearer, or take someone like Gary Lineker, for example. He was a prolific striker, but 90% of his goals were inside the 6-yard box, tap-ins. And that's because of the supply that he was getting. And he was getting into those positions. So very different style of striker than, someone who comes marauding from midfield and goes past two players and bangs it in the top bin. So it's really interesting to see how people compare different strikers and the styles of play. So anyone to single out one person based on, a few figures, I think you should look more deeply into the team that they were playing within and see. I think Messi is probably a bit of a exception of the rule there, because he's been prolific in any team he's played in.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but interesting.
There's only one name,
it's just an interesting conversation.
That's just a very biased view on it. It's
you say Henry.
TT himself, yeah.
Yeah, he's another one.
He would be up there. Yeah.
He
definitely would be.
I think there's also, as we know with goal scorers, there's like an aura that they carry and how they behave and the arrogance that they have, but a good arrogance and things like that. I think he was, it's cheesy, and again from a very biased point of view, he had that. Vava Boom used to have that as you say, quiet, didn't it? He was always that. He had something about him. He was a cool guy. He was clinical. He had a mean streak to him. He had a cheeky side to him. It just, I think he'd always be up there for me personally. It's just a big reason why I fell in love with football.
some deadly players though out there, weren't there? I mean, even like I bring it up again slightly, but Ruvan Nistelrooy, we were talking about him.
Yeah.
He was absolutely deadly, like just so. But again, is a different kind of player. Michael Owen, before he was injured, when he was young,
say Michael Owen is something else.
Ballon d'Or winner.
He was absolutely something else in the late 90s into the noughties. He was.
Yeah. But then you could argue in his same team, Ricky Fowler was probably
God, they called him, didn't they?
So there's a million names you could throw out, and we're missing loads of people just going through them. But like, honestly, that's a conversation to be had in it at best. But we'll have to dedicate a pod to it at some point.
What I like about it is the subjectivity. So there's key moments that player has had for your team. Even when I think about like the Bournemouth fear of them getting promoted, Wilson and Jan Kermigan, the relationship that they had and how they were, that will always be something I remember sitting and watching, going, I can't believe they've scored exactly the same way as they scored last week and the week before and the week before. These teams are not doing their research on how easy this Bournemouth team are finding to score. And there's those magic moments that you have. I'm sure you've got some, Ben, with Les Ferdinand and players like that.
Mate. Yeah.
That will just synonymous with that club, and it always generally is a goal scorer. And those magic moments, like that Aguero moment, that anybody can say anybody, and I can respect that decision.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
fair enough. Oh well, there was some hot takes in there. The only last one I just they're all good. The only thing I'll sneak in, by the way, Bournemouth will be in Europe this season. There you go. So we're not going to delve into that.
That'd be amazing.
I don't think any Bournemouth fan would agree with you on that one, mate.
I don't know.
You find some. Speak to Neil and Ryan about it, mate, and see what you.
There's a few.
I think that's blind hope more than anything else.
I don't know. They started pretty well, so
imagine losing.
They are doing well.
Imagine losing a striker that scored you 19 goals last season and coping with him like they have. It's pretty impressive. Coping without him as they have is pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Anyway, so we'll probably leave the football talk there for now.
Yeah.
And perhaps the pod for this week. I didn't have any real fantasy football other than to say wildcard was shit. Honestly, 30.
You had a bit of a stinker there, didn't you, mate? Yeah, but it's one for the long term. It's one for the long term.
Yes, exactly. But no panic. Absolutely no panic there.
No, way too early.
Please.
My month, you're going to get your monthly report. My month was top 2%.
Oh, I haven't looked at that, to be honest.
I'm not going to lie, Josh. I'm really upset with you. I've got a bone to pick with you. You've got another apology to make here.
Oh, God.
The week you choose
to
not mention. Hang on. The week you choose to not mention fantasy football.
Oh, Jack's had a good week.
Just scrolling.
Oh.
I got the highest points this week.
Hey.
No, bastard. No, I didn't. George O'Callaghan got 92. Outside of George. Me and George first, me second.
Well done.
And do you know why I had a good week?
Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer's in there, but I'm the idiot that doesn't have Haaland. Everybody else will have enough. Everybody will have brilliant weeks. This is my 1 week. Let me bask in my glory of not having that.
God, you did very well, mate. Very good going then.
How good was Cole Palmer's goals?
Oh, mate, yeah, it's different level, isn't he?
He is. It's weird that he scores 4. He might go missing for like 2 or 3 games. But then he'll come up with a hat trick again in like 3 games.
I don't think he will. I think he's consistent. He just. If you heard him talk, he's a proper throwback footballer. I don't think he has a lot between the ears, but that doesn't matter. Like he is.
I'm glad you'll be pleased to know he doesn't listen to the pod, mate.
He's to the point. He's very just raw and young and naive and just doesn't overthink anything and just goes for it. And it's just unreal. Just unreal. And that free kick, I'm a lover of a left-footed worldy free kick, and that is right up there. Very, very good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Oh, well.
Should we finish that?
Then? Transfer him in.
Probably finish there. I considered that one, by the way, for fantasy. I would
Foden's back playing as well now.
Next week,
yeah.
Anyway, so nothing special to add on the fantasy. Just don't panic.
Just keep going.
Don't panic, Mr. Mannering.
Yeah, fair play.
Anyway,
Cool.
Thanks again, lads.
Yeah,
My
thoroughly
pleasure.
enjoyed that, boys. Nice to talk
Yeah.
to you. I hope,
I'm
hope
sorry
your leg's
to,
not too bad, Jackie.
Yeah. Thank you, mate.
Sorry to hear that.
I'll see you. I'll see you Friday with my crutches. Like I said, Ben, don't come too close to the sideline. You might get a little whack as you run past.
No, we're playing. Me and Joshy. It's a pod head-to-head
Pod
pod
derby.
clash this week.
Oh, I can hit both of you then.
Yeah.
We will serve you your first defeat. I can.
I look forward to the challenge.
No, maybe not guarantee. I won't go as far as a guarantee. Rubber stamp of approval, but
I'm glad the camera was on for that one.
we'll give it a
Ben
good shot.
sat up then. He got a bit prickly. Like,
Oh.
take on the challenge. What did he say?
Love a challenge,
for me,
mate.
about the purples.
we're going to give it a go.
Good.
Love it.
Good.
All right. Well done, everybody. Great week, and keep going.
Yeah, take it easy, boys. Thanks to everyone for listening again. Please do tune in. Let people know. Anyone of the new members of the Man v Fat community that don't tune in, please do spread the word and get them to have a listen. Hopefully, you're all still enjoying what we do and having a bit of a laugh at our ridiculous banter.
Mm-hmm. And we might have a very special guest soon. We're lining up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So keep your ears close to the ground.
Yeah, cool. Groovy.
Right.
Right, lads. Have
Thanks
a good
a lot,
weekend, and I will see you on Friday.
Cheerio, boys.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.